You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Let the madness begin. Thanks for staying up with us tonight.
Yeah, the NCAA tournament brackets, they're set. The Cougars, Aggies, and the Utah women are all going dancing.
So let's dig into the madness. We'll start on the men's side, where we knew BYU and Utah State were in. But how high would they be seated?
Yeah, the Cougars and Aggies both were in the top 25 at the end of the regular season. But what did the committee think of both of them when it came time to place them in the bracket?
Now to Friday in Indianapolis, where we find the 8 seed Utah State.
Okay, you kind of hear that reaction. Lower than expected? Well, the Mountain West regular season champion Aggies are an 8 seed. They will travel to Indianapolis to face TCU on Friday. This is the 24th NCAA tournament appearance in school history. 5th time in the last 6 years they've qualified for the tournament, and 13th appearance since 1998. Utah State is seeking their first NCAA tournament win since 2001.
I mean, obviously the best day of the year for college basketball, and for all of us. And obviously a tremendous honor to play in the NCAA tournament again. It's the school's 24th appearance, which is incredible. The 8 seed is tied for the highest seed in school history. And coincidentally, that team, I think it was in 2019, that team was also picked 9th in the Mountain West and ended up getting an at-large and an 8 seed. So
disappointment? No. Surprising? Yes. I mean, I'm just glad that we're in it, and there's worse positions to be in. But I would say more surprising than disappointing. I wouldn't. Disappointing, no. The committee's going to do what the committee does, but I'm just glad to be in it. So.
Okay, so what do we know about Utah State's first-round matchup? Well, BYU fans know them well. The TCU Horned Frogs finished the season with a 21-12 overall record, 9-9 in the Big 12. They're the lowest-seeded team out of the Big 12. With the 9th seed, TCU was 3rd in the Big 12 in scoring, averaging 79 points per game this season, but they were also the 3rd worst scoring defense, giving up 71 points per game. They are led by Emmanuel Miller, who averages 16 points per game, which was 4th in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's physical. I mean, obviously the last 3 years in a row, and my teams have played a Big 12 team every year. I don't know what the Big 12 has against me or the selection committee, but it's really physical. Their bodies are different. It's very similar to like the San Diego States and, a lot of the stuff that we see in our league. And, the one thing we can't forget is we're coming off a loss. I'm not happy with I don't mind losing, but the way we lost, I don't like that. And we better come out with a chip on our shoulder if we want any chance on Friday.
It's kind of good for us in a sense to now we're going into the tournament with a chip on our shoulder, and we'll be ready to play and battle and not get shown out how we did at the Mountain West tournament. We talked about more than going to the tournament this whole season. We talked about winning in the tournament and advancing in the tournament. So I think that as long as we remind everyone, this is what we asked for. We asked to be here, and we asked to be put in a position to go win in the tournament, and we remind everybody of that, then I think that everybody's mindset will be in the right place.
Sam, Mike.
Utah State's game on Friday against TCU will tip off at 7:55 Mountain Time and will be televised on TBS. If the Aggies advance to the round of 32, there's a good chance they'll face number 1 seeded Purdue, who's awaiting the winner between Grambling and Danny Sprinkle's former team, Montana State, in the play-in game.
Yep, and super happy for those guys, Coach Logie, their players. Great kids. Just couldn't be more excited for them. And a lot of us, we were watching that game down in Vegas and cheering for them. It's still family, it is. And, really proud for them. And even Johnny Hill on my staff went to Purdue. We're still rooting for the Bobcats.
All right, now the BYU Cougars are one of the biggest surprises of the college basketball season. Picked to finish 13th in their first year in the 14-team Big 12, the toughest conference in the country. The Cougars proved all of us wrong by finishing 5th, which is why BYU fans were disappointed with their seed.
And the 6th seed is BYU. Their first season in the Big 12. They will face the 11 seed, the Duquesne Dukes.
So despite being ranked 17th overall in the committee's rankings, which is the top 5th seed in the tournament, the Cougars had to be moved to a 6th seed to avoid a Sunday play bracket. They are in the number 6 seed in the East region. They face the A-10 tournament champion Duquesne in a 6-11 matchup in Omaha, Nebraska, Thursday. This will be the 31st NCAA tournament appearance for the program, the 2nd under head coach Mark Pope.
If it was a no Sunday, you'd think there's going to be 1 or 2 Saturday 5 seeds, but You know, I think out of the top 36 teams, we're the only team not seeded correctly based on the NCAA, the selection committee's list of how they rank teams. But again, guys, you know, at some point maybe you guys will find an explanation for that. But the only thing that matters to us is we're in this thing and we get a chance to go play, and we're playing against a great team, and we're going to try and go play great.
Being a high seed is always a blessing, but I think I can speak for everybody in the program when we say that we're just blessed to even be in this tournament. Every team's great, so just making sure we're prepared, whether we're playing the Dukes or we're playing the #1 seed, UConn. So, I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. We're just going to make sure we come prepared and ready to play.
Here's a quick look at BYU's opponent, the Duquesne Dukes. They're the Atlantic 10 tournament champions, 24-11 record, 10-8 conference record. They finished 6th in the A10, but got hot in the conference tournament, eventually defeating Ryan Odom's VCU in the title game. The Dukes are 80th in net ranking, 3-5 against Quad 1 teams. Their best win was an upset of 24th-ranked Dayton in the A10 tournament. Their leading scorer is Day Grant, 16.9 points per game, and Jimmy Clark averages 15.3 points per game, and they're 67th in the country in three-point percentage defense.
They're the A10 champs, and that's no easy feat. I think they've won 8 or 9 games in a row. They're probably, I don't know what, you know, got to be a top 5 or 6 or 7 longest winning streak in the country, so they're playing elite level basketball. We know intimately how good this Dayton team is, and they kind of ran them out of the gym earlier in the tournament. So this is a great team, elite level defensive team. I think a top 30 defensive team. You know, they're A10 champs. That's kind of all you have to say.
Here's a look at BYU's bracket. The Cougars will play Duquesne Thursday at 10:40 a.m. Mountain Time if they advance. And Illinois, a huge favorite in a 3-14 matchup with Morehead State, takes care of business. The Cougars would play the Illini on Saturday. BYU has a 3-2 record as a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament all time. The Cougars' last tournament win was, of course, that miraculous comeback against Iona, the first 4 in Dayton in 2012. BYU was a 6th seed when they advanced to the Elite 8 in 1981. We also have the NCAA tournament in Salt Lake City. #2 seed Arizona gets Long Beach State. Nevada, 10 seed, will take on 7 seed Dayton. Gonzaga's back at Salt Lake City. They get a 30-win McNeese team in a 5-12 matchup. And #4 Kansas is coming to Utah. They get Samford. BYU could not play in Salt Lake City because all these games feed into a Friday-Sunday regional. Mark Pope wishes things were different.
I was actually really excited about that. I thought that there would be a five seed in there. And like I said, we were the #1 5 according to the selection committee. Mostly I'm just disappointed for our fan base. I think it would have been really special for Cougar Nation to be able to be there in that gym. And the fact we have a chance to go play and go compete is what really, really matters to us. And that's where our hearts are right now.
Well, the Cougs and Aggies aren't the only ones dancing. The Utah women's basketball team is also going to the tournament. They were a popular preseason pick to make it to the Final Four. But injuries and an early exit in the Pac-12 tournament have pushed the Utes outside of those top 16 seeds that get to host.
As for your 5-12 matchup in Regional 4 in Portland, #5 Utah Utes.
Well, there it is. Utah getting their 3rd consecutive NCAA tournament berth with the #5 seed in the Portland Regional. This is the 2nd time in school history they've gone to 3 straight NCAA tournaments, and the first time since the 1989 to 1991 seasons. They will be facing the Summit League champs, South Dakota State.
I mean, I love it. I think it means that we've established ourselves as a nationally recognized program, and that's what I came here to do. And we've done it, and I have no expectation or plans to go backwards, right? So the expectation now every year is that we make the NCAA tournament, and I'm happy with that expectation. Put it on me. That's what we want, and it feels good. It's gratifying, but you know, our ultimate goals have not been reached yet.
South Dakota State, the Summit League champs, have a 27-5 overall record. They're going into the tournament with a 21-game win streak. This will be the 4th all-time meeting between these two schools, the first since Utah won in 2009. Sophomore Brooklyn Meyer leads the Jacks with 17 points, 7.7 rebounds per game. She's blocked 60 shots this season, and as a team, they're very good defensively, holding opponents to just 37% shooting on the season.
Now more than ever, you know, we're just going to be locked in, and not take this opportunity for granted, and like me especially, like you said, it being my last year, I'm definitely going to go all out and, just leave it all out there.
It's going to be a good environment for our players. South Dakota State, I have a ton of respect for. They're good. They are really good. I was just looking at their schedule. I don't think they've lost in 20 games or something like that. So they're always the Summit League champs and always are really hard out. So we've got our hands full.
All right, we were talking about this earlier, JJ. I like this bracket for the Utes. A win would likely set up a second-round matchup against Gonzaga, and sure, they would have home court advantage in Spokane. Utah's ranked 12th, and the Zags, Utah's 11th, and the Zags 12th in the net rankings. But the Zags are 1-2 against ranked opponents this season. They lost the WCC championship to Portland as well, and I just think Utah has a deeper roster.
Yeah, and if they got to the Sweet 16, that Texas matchup of the 1 seeds is the most favorable as well. So we'll see what the Utes can do. All right, we have to take a short break. Tyler Huntley, speaking of the Utes, has a new NFL home. That's next.
And we also have March Madness in the NBA. Believe it or not, we got some buzzer beaters on Sunday.
I don't care about your individual stats. I don't care how many points you score. I don't care what you post on Instagram.
Winning has taken a backseat to development for the Utah Jazz, but that doesn't mean Will Hardy's letting up on his young team. What had him so upset? Next.
Great motor behind him, but he gets to the ball, and that's all you ask for.
All right, there's no doubt. Jonah Ellis is going to be drafted. But why are teams going to love having him on their roster? That's why we have Stevenson Sylvester in the studio to break things down, why the Utah pass rusher is high on a lot of teams' big boards when the draft comes around next month. That's coming up.
Sly had some great breakdowns of Jonah Ellis. In fact, we went 6 minutes and we could have gone longer on him. Just an outstanding athlete. Definitely be one of the highest guys taken among the locals. All right, go to KSLSports.com or KSL Sports, the app. All the stuff you need, all the information about BYU, Utah State, and Utah women in the NCAA tournament can be found right there and much more. We'll be right back.
You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Yay, March Madness? Why not, especially on Selection Sunday?
Three, get it off, bam for three, yes! Bam wins the game with a three!
How about a little NBA March Madness on Selection Sunday? Bam Adebayo hits the game winner to beat Detroit 104-101, hitting his 12th three of his NBA career. Good time to hit one.
Well, another game that went to the buzzer was the Nuggets and Mavs. Fourth quarter, 30 seconds left. Jamal Murray hits the big three for the three-point lead. 26 seconds left, though. The Mavericks have an answer. Luka Doncic ties the game with this big shot. And then as time expires, the Mavs get the job done.
In for Irving. Irving for the win!
What was that? Kyrie Irving, the left-handed hook shot for the win.
All right, there's only one player left from the Utah Jazz roster in Rudy Gobert's final season with the franchise, which was less than 2 years ago, right? A lot has changed quickly.
Yeah, Rudy didn't play Saturday when the Timberwolves came to town, but Mike Conley did, and the fans showed him the love.
6-1 from Ohio State, number 10, Mike Conley.
Acting like he's been there before, and he has, Bowler, for that three-point.
This was the first game back for Mountain Mike since he was traded from Utah to Minnesota at last season's trade deadline. He received a warm welcome from the Utah Jazz crowd and then went out and killed the Jazz on the court. Conley had 25 points in 30 minutes and was 5 of 8 from 3, helping the Timberwolves get a 119-100 win. The Timberwolves now 46-21 and contending in the West.
Good to be here. It's a tough place to play still, but happy we got the win. We're trying to have fun. Honestly, just trying to have fun with it. And like I said before the game, just kind of soak up the moment. You get a video play, and it doesn't happen very often, and it just shows so much gratitude from that, and it gets you kind of pumped up to play, and just wanted to go out there and put on a good show.
As for the Utah Jazz, not their best game. They shot just 6 of 26 from the three-point line. They turned the ball over 15 times compared to Minnesota, who had just 8. Only 2 starters were in double-digit scoring. Too many ISOs, not enough passing. And Will Hardy wasn't happy with the performance.
Stats don't mean I don't care about your individual stats. I don't care how many points you score. I don't care what you post on Instagram. It doesn't matter. It's a team sport. You play to win. We have to nip this in the bud now, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. There will not be free minutes in this program. And so you're either going to start learning and you're going to start playing the right way and you're going to start participating with your teammates, or you're not going to play.
Tell us how it really is, Will. More NBA action from Sunday. The Suns visiting the Bucks in the first half. Bobby Portis couldn't miss. Goes 5 for 5 from 3, had 25 of his 31 points in the first half. In the final seconds of the third quarter, it's Logo Lillard. The shot at the buzzer. Dame had 31 points and 16 assists in the Bucks' 44th win of the season.
3, 2, dropped off to Nolan, and they win it at the buzzer! The Bulldogs win it at the buzzer, they will review! But I think Matt Nolan has just sent him dancing yet again!
Some crazy finish this Sunday. Yale gets their 7th NCAA tournament bid in program history by winning the Ivy League title, following the narrow 62-61 win over Brown for the Ivy League championship.
Miller with time winding down. She gets the bucket. And Drake takes home the championship.
How about that? Drake's Anna Miller scored 8 of her 25 points in the fourth quarter. None more important than the game-winning shot at the horn to give Drake the Missouri Valley Tournament championship.
Gives off to Jackson. My goodness. Oh, my gosh. They got confetti falling right now. Confetti is falling on the floor. They're going to have to stop playing. We can't see our notes. The players can't work on this court. Confetti is everywhere.
Wait a minute. The buzzer beater hadn't happened yet in this game. Even with the disruption in the second half, Duquesne was able to get the win, 57-51 over VCU. They take home the A-10 title, and then they now prep for BYU in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Well, on Thursday night in Las Vegas, Utah's chances of going to the NCAA tournament, that came to an official end. But both Brandon Carlson and Gabe Madsen said they would like to keep their season going if given that opportunity. Well, today, that opportunity came. The Runnin' Utes accepting an invitation to play in the NIT. Utah given a number 2 seed and will be hosting UC Irvine in the first round. That game set for Tuesday night at 9 o'clock at the Huntsman Center. If they win that, then they will host the winner between third-seeded Iowa and Kansas State later in the week.
We continue our locals in the NFL draft previews with Stevenson Sylvester. This week, we take a deep dive on Utah defensive end Jonah Ellis, one of the best pass rushers in the country, Sly. You saw him up close and personal. You saw his technique. You saw everything he did. Let's take a look at him. You look at his size, maybe a little undersized, Sly. Does he have the size that it's going to take to be able to make that transition to the NFL and be just as effective?
Oh, yeah. What's the point of the game, right? Get to the ball. And
There
this
you go.
guy gets to the ball every single time. 6'2", 247, 33-inch arms. He does a great job with usage of his hands, extending the O-lineman. He's a great all-around player. He's got great people to learn from. Older brother, dad. He has great Sunday night dinners talking about pass rush moves. And so I think he just gets it done at the end of the day. Of course, as you said, sideline, being able to watch this guy up close, he just doesn't stop running. Even when he's tired, he's breathing heavy. You can see him on the next play. So he's got a great motor behind him, but he gets to the ball, and that's all you ask for from that position.
As far as size, you've seen pass rushers that aren't, 260 pounds. Look at this list right here. These are guys maybe he compares to?
Yeah, I mean, but look at me. I mean, when I came out into the draft, I was 6'2", 6'3", 231. They're like, oh, he's light. And the coaches from the Steelers were like, he'll put on weight. I mean, he was in college. He didn't eat much. So it's the same thing. Jonah Ellis is 247 right now. He could put on 8 pounds before training camp like it's nothing. And he'll be 255 and nobody will ask any questions. Sometimes these guys need to be a little lighter, right? That's just where their comfortability is.
Speed matters too, right?
Speed matters. And with technique, all of the things that people bash on smaller defenders about, you can get better with technique. I've seen Troy Polamalu, all of 210, 212 pounds, lift up 340-pound O-lineman just based off of great technique. So he can get done and get better, but all of these guys all play those positions coming out and are around that size.
What type of scheme in the NFL is the best fit for him?
What I love about Jonah Ellis is he's versatile. He can do the D in position where he's putting his hand in the dirt, or he can stand up and be a 3-4 DN. He can do it all. I absolutely love his versatility, or be like our guy Koamisi. right? Cole Misi played all defensive end at the University of Utah.
Yeah.
But when he went to the Miami Dolphins, he was playing middle linebacker. He has that versatility. He can do that. His older brother is playing middle linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons. You know, he could play D end, but I see him as a 3-4 defensive end in some of these schemes because of the way that 3-4 uses their outside linebackers. They can drop in coverage. They can send over the middle of the center. They can be all over the field. That's where Jonah Ellis lies. He can play on both sides of the line of scrimmage, from the right side to the left side. He can play on both. And so I love his versatility, and I know a team is going to love to see that.
All right, let's dig into the tape. Obviously, he gets after the quarterback.
Yes, with ease. I mean, he only played 9 games this year and had 12 sacks. You know, multiple sack games. But he is just all over the field. As I said, his motor is his best intangible. He doesn't stop running. So that's great for a defensive end because that initial block, a lineman will think he'll have you. But you get the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens that want to hold the ball. If you got a great motor, you're going to get to him and you're going to pad those stats.
What does he need to work on at the NFL level?
It's technique. Everybody is the technique. He's young, so he's got to work on that. When you get to the NFL, I mean, I played against guys like Bryant McKinney, 6'8", 6'9", 400 pounds. Mount McKinney is what they called him. And but there's guys like that in the NFL. But his athleticism, he will definitely understand that. And so here against Oregon State, he was able to play against a first-round draft pick here. And so this guy is going to be a first-round draft pick in NFL draft this year. And but here's his quickness. Right? Use his hands. They say he has the best spin move in the draft. That is a big intangible here in the draft that you want to utilize. But in the run play, see with the defensive end, you want to stay on this line and this plane. Here he gets pushed out onto the top of those logo. That's what you don't want to do because you widen that B gap. So you want to keep things tight.
And the running back's got 15, 20 yards.
Right. And sometimes when you're a smaller defender, you want to just get around guys, but those big guys are able to push you and you make that gap bigger. So he's got to get that. And that's with technique. If we know, Jonah Ellis has gotten better every single year that he's been able to play. So in 2021, he's got 11 pressures and 2 sacks. Last year, he had 25 and 4 sacks. And this year, he had 13 sacks in just 9 games. He's getting better every single year. He's a quick learner, very coachable. You know, as you said, from Luther Ellis, he's got a great pedigree. And so he's got a lot of things to learn from. But I think as an NFL team, you would look at his upside. What can I project seeing this guy in 2 to 3 years? Is he going to be a dominant player in this league? And I would say yes. All
right, so you're the GM. What round are you taking him in, and where do you think would be a great fit for him?
Man, so you have to invest in the future. Right?
Yeah.
As we said, where is he going to project here in the next 2 to 3 years? This first round, he doesn't have to be your number 1 starter coming out of the draft this first year, but he's got to be a supplemental complement to your team, right? Special teams, defense, sub downs on third downs, and I got to invest in the future. This guy, I will take him in the late second round. I'll take him in the late second round. I say a team like, I don't even know. Because he's so versatile. He can play the 4-3 or 3-4. He would be all over the place.
So there's a lot of good fits for him.
There's a lot of good fits. I can't solely say that one team is going to benefit it.
One coach, absolutely.
But I like the 3-4 scheme, so whoever has that 3-4 scheme. But honestly, if he can go to Philadelphia and be a part of that terrorizing defense, you know, so they can revitalize when they made their Super Bowl run, which their offense is now stacked. Now they got to get back to that dominant 70-plus sack season team. But Miami loves Utah. Well suited wherever he goes. Very, very strong upside.
Well, look, his dad, Luther Ellis, is a Lions legend, a great NFL player. Caden right now is killing it with the Falcons. He's got 2 other brothers in the NFL. He's about to join him. Pretty cool for Jonah Ellis. It's great to see him do well. I like it. That second or third round, he's definitely a second-day guy, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. If he drifts, a team is getting a steal in the draft. That's for sure.
Look for Jonah to go in the second or third round. Thanks, Sly. All right, back to the NBA. Celtics and Wizards. It won't surprise you that Jason Tatum dropped 30 on the Wizards, 8 of 17 shooting, 6 of 12 from 3. It will surprise you that he wasn't the only three-point scorer for the Celtics, and it wasn't Jaylen Brown, Derek White, or Kristaps Porzingis. It was Sam Hauser. Yes, Sam Hauser could not miss. He made 10 threes, 30 points, a career high.
Coaching the Atlanta Hawks, welcome back, Quinn Snyder.
Friday night, former Utah Jazz head coach Quinn Snyder returned to the Delta Center for the first time in almost 2 years, this time as the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. Snyder led the Jazz to 6 playoff appearances in his 8 seasons in Utah. It's a time that he remembers fondly.
You just are reminded, what a unique opportunity that I had here. With all the people in the Jazz organization, the people in the community, and the impact and, kind of being taken in that respect with my family. Was really grateful for the time I got to spend here.
Well, the Jazz slow coast to the season's finish line continued Friday night without Lauri Markkanen in the lineup for a 5th straight game. Guards Jordan Clarkson and Chris Dunn, they were also both out of that one. So to shake up the starting lineup, Will Hardy started all 3 rookies, the youngest starting lineup in Jazz history. Not only that, it was the first time in NBA history a team started 3 rookies 20 years old or younger. And the lineup worked against the Hawks. The Jazz coming out with a 2-point win led by Keontae George's 25-point performance, 12 of those coming in the third quarter. Bryce Sensabaugh also had a productive third quarter, scored 8 of his 14 in that third quarter, and maybe the most surprising performance that didn't come in the starting lineup. How about off the bench from Johnny Juzang, scoring a career-high 19 points on a team-high 5 3-pointers in that win. Colin Sexton also played very well that night, making 9 of 16 shots for 21 points, 7 of those coming in the fourth quarter. But he's also responsible for some of the most important plays in the game, hitting a key 3-pointer after the steal right here. And then late in the game, another steal that turned into that reverse dunk. It was the Jazz first win in 11 days.
There's a beatdown, mentally and emotionally that comes with losing a bunch of games in a row. There's not very many people in general that have any perspective on the context of a situation. It's wins and losses, and if you win, you're great, and if you lose, you're awful. These guys take a beating. It's not necessarily fair, but it comes with the territory, and so I think opportunities to win and show everybody that the work's paying off and that you are capable of winning is really important.
Let's head to golf now. Tony Finau finished tied for 45th at the Players' Championship Sunday with a 4-under. He was chasing the leader, Scottie Scheffler, and right now, everybody on tour is chasing the world number 1. He's hot. Final round of the Players Sunday. Scheffler was a down the stroke to Xander Schauffele and in the beach, and then he pulls this off, which set him up for birdie. From there, he wouldn't falter while the field did on 18. Schauffele and Wyndham Clark with a chance to tie him and couldn't. Scheffler holds on for the win at 20 under. He wins in back-to-back weeks on the tour. All right, hockey fans in Utah, the 8,500 fans that were at the Maverick Center on Saturday night witnessed a miracle.
Yeah, the Utah Grizzlies trailed the Norfolk Admirals 4-1 late in the third period.
Most teams would pack it in at that point. Not the Grizzlies. They kept fighting. Less than 3 minutes left. Kyle Mayhew scores to make it 4-2. 48 seconds later, it's Dylan Fitz who shoots and scores. The Grizzlies are now down 1. Then just 20 seconds later, are you kidding me? Josh Wesley ties it at 4?
Grizzlies tie it up! Grizzlies tie it up! Grizzlies tie it up! Unbelievable!
That's 3 goals in a 1 minute and 8 second stretch that sent this game to overtime. And in extra time, Wesley comes up big again, scoring the game winner 90 seconds into OT. The Grizzlies also won on Sunday.
Well, the Royals, they are back. The NWSL's official return to Utah came on Saturday with the Royals season opener at America First Field. They were hosting the Chicago Red Stars. The second half is where most of this action happened. Allison Schlegel scored to put the Red Stars up 1-0. Then about 20 minutes later, it was Ava Cook scoring to extend that lead to 2-0. The Royals would have a total of 19 shots. Just none of them found the back of the net, and they ended up losing the season opener 2-0. But how about this? 5 players on the Royals roster played high school soccer here in Utah. One of them, goalkeeper Carly Nelson, had played at the U. The other 4 ended up playing at BYU. 2 of them, Brecken Mozingo, and who was the 4th overall pick in this year's draft, and Cameron Tucker, an offseason acquisition. They both came on together in the 69th minute, logging their first minutes in a Royals uniform.
All right, senior night for the Red Rocks. It was a perfect night for a few Utah gymnasts. You don't want to miss that coming up next.
It was senior night Friday night at Huntsman Center, and one of the seniors leaving the Red Rocks is Abby Paulson, one of the most consistent Red Rocks with this year. 2 perfect 10s on the beam, gets the storybook ending with a 10 on beam on senior night. How about that? And on floor, Jaden Rucker's last performance in front of the home crowd was a 9.925, and fifth-year senior Miley O'Keefe ending her historic Red Rock career with a 9.925 in front of a packed Huntsman crowd. Next up for the Red Rocks, how about the Pac-12 championships? Can they earn an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament? Hey, they're just as good.
Hopefully, they might have to hope for an at-large. Hopefully, they're not on the bubble this year.
Hey, Jeremiah's going to be in Omaha with BYU. I'll be in Indianapolis with Utah State. So follow along, KSLSports.com and the KSL Sports app for all of your NCAA tournament coverage. See you then.